What once looked like a bold show of strength from Britain and Europe is now quietly being reworked into a more cautious, scaled-back military commitment to Ukraine. Britain is now likely to scrap proposals to send tens of thousands of ground troops to defend key Ukrainian infrastructure, a plan originally floated to protect cities, ports, and nuclear plants under a potential post-ceasefire peacekeeping mission. The Times, which reviewed internal deliberations, reported that the risk of direct confrontation with Russia was deemed too high. A source involved in the UK-led Coalition of the Willing said the proposed force was always inadequate to provide real deterrence, noting, "The risks are too high, and the force is inadequate for such a task." In a sharp pivot, the UK and its European partners are now expected to shift their focus toward reinforcing and rearming Ukraine's military, with a stronger emphasis on air and maritime protection over ground presence. British and French military trainers are set to be deployed to western Ukraine, far from active front lines, to fulfill earlier commitments to Kyiv. Officials hope this limited deployment could still signal long-term support while avoiding escalation. Aircraft would patrol Ukrainian skies, offering air cover to Western trainers on the ground. Meanwhile, Turkey is expected to play a significant maritime role under the most likely scenarios now under discussion. The UK Ministry of Defence declined to confirm the current iteration of plans, describing it as speculation. A spokesperson told The Times that advanced operational planning for land, sea, and air support continues across the coalition. According to The Times, it had been France, not Britain, that initially pushed hardest for a more muscular military presence on Ukrainian soil. However, London had long viewed such a deployment as a dangerous overreach. The trainers reassure by being there, the same source said, but they are not a deterrence or protection force. British planners remain wary of a scenario where a ceasefire collapses and foreign troops become entangled in renewed hostilities, a situation that could stretch NATO's eastern flank thin and risk dragging the alliance into direct conflict. Russia, meanwhile, has preemptively rejected any proposal involving foreign troops in Ukraine. Valentina Matviyenko, chair of the Russian Federation Council, made Moscow's position unmistakably clear. Russia will never participate in any negotiations or any talks to discuss the terms for this potential deployment. She said,
"The idea was doomed to fail from the very beginning. We will never support this because these are issues concerning our country's security, our sovereignty. No matter under what flag they do it, under what guise, NATO or not NATO, these are troops from countries unfriendly to us who are fighting against Russia, who still harbor the idea of inflicting a strategic defeat on us. It is inconceivable that they would be deployed in Ukraine. Russia will never allow this. It is impossible, unrealistic. The covens and gatherings that they hold every now and then, well, they can keep on having fun."
Diplomatic sources told The Times that the talks now revolve around crafting a compromise that won't require Ukraine to abandon all its red lines, while pressuring Moscow to shift its own. Behind closed doors, Western officials are betting that stepping back from boots on the ground might just be the concession Moscow needs to rethink its hardline terms, a strategic gamble that could either open the door to peace or be read as retreat.